Women are so fucking cool.
Hey, welcome, welcome. I am so excited to once again introduce another fucking cool woman on this podcast. And I am always saying this, but I'm just so grateful to have this opportunity to talk to these women and always looking for more women to talk to. So check out the form below and submit your name or share it with somebody you know, because I love being introduced to fucking cool women. My name is Joanne Morton, and if you're a first time listener, welcome. And if you come back for another episode, thank you. Please tell your friends, share this podcast, subscribe, make a comment, and support the podcast through Patreon. And I do have a Patreon link down below as well. This is becoming a bigger project at some point. I want to make a documentary. So enjoy the process of making a film with me, Joanne. So today I had a chance to talk to Sapphire Starr. She has an amazing origin story. I met her at a networking event here in Savannah, and then we re-met again at a women's networking event, and we happened to be standing in line to get our little food treats, and we started chatting, and I was like, I would love to have you on the podcast because she is a speaker, a coach, financial freedom coach, which I really appreciate her messaging and that. And she talks about that a little bit. And she's also somebody who believes in the power of giving back. And as FCWs, that's what we all do. We all are giving back, and we're all about respecting, encouraging, and celebrating each other. So I think you're going to enjoy this conversation. And again, if you're interested in learning more about this podcast, you can go to fcwsociety.com and reach out to me. All right, here we go. Here is Sapphire Starr. Hey, Sapphire.
Hi, Joanne.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. So I already told them how we met. We got to talking in a line, which is the best place to talk to some women sometimes, right? How many friendships have started because you're standing in a line, right? Yes.
So
So
many.
so many. So we're just going to jump right in because I can't wait to hear what you have to say. So what's the definition of a fucking cool woman?
First of all, thank you so much for having me here. And I don't know why, it's something about those three words that just elicit a joyous response in my body, my mind, and my soul. So when I hear it, it instantly makes me giggle. It instantly think of as like a little child getting to say the F word. But for me, what makes a fucking cool woman is a woman that is free. A woman that is free to be who she authentically is. A woman that is free to speak her mind. A woman that is free to be herself. That's how I would define a fucking cool woman.
Yeah, it's true. And what sort of qualities or what does a woman what does a FCW do in order to know that freedom? What sort of qualities do you think she might have?
She's someone on the outside, she may appear confident. She will appear to almost be whimsical in the sense as she walks down the street, as she enters the room. She creates this vibration, this energy without opening her mouth. And I know for some women, that's not something you just wake up one day and you have this je ne sais quoi about yourself. It doesn't just happen. And I do believe that when we've gone through the fire, when we've gone through traumatic experience, when we've gone through difficult things in life, and we're able to go through the fire and come out on the other side, that creates something in us that just illuminates But the reality is, we've gone through some things to get there. So it's not always easy. And some women just have a very hard time really discovering who they are and how to be. But I do think that we can find joy and we can find light in the darkest times of our lives, because what it does when we do go through dark times in life, it allows us to really fully appreciate that light. And once we appreciate that light and we own that light, we can walk in that light. And then when we show up and we walk in rooms, people can see it, own it, and feel it too.
Yeah. It's we know how to feel the fear and
Yeah,
do it anyway.
do it anyway. Absolutely.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
really do. Yeah, that there is fear that slows us down. I think especially as a mother,
Yeah.
you have to feel all that fear if you're about to give birth to a child, because that is the biggest let go of the fear and do it anyway that I think women can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when you are responsible for someone else, it has a tendency to make you fearless, because you're like, oh, I would do whatever to protect someone else, even if it's at my own demise. So as a woman, we have those nurturing and caring instincts just naturally about us. Whether you have a kid or not, you still have that in you to give to the world, to give who you are to other people, whether you birth them or not. It's just naturally who we are as women, to be caring and nurturing and loving.
Right, right. And then it's fucking cool when we also recognize that it's our responsibility to take care of ourselves too. It's that
Amen.
balance, you know?
Self-care is the best care. It goes back to that airplane analogy. You
Mhm.
know, you have to put your mask on first. You're no good to no one around you if you're suffering, if you can't get out of the bed because you're crippling fighting with depression. You have to be your 1000% best self. A fucking cool woman that I absolutely admire and love is Brandis Rawls, and she has, it's called Be More Raw, and it's bemoreраw.com. But she has this thing called the art of sacred selfishness, and she has these rawisms, and she said it's important for us to pour back into ourselves and build ourselves up, and to remove the stigma of being selfish is negative. It's not. You have to be able to pour into yourself. How are you going to pour into others if you're not pouring into yourself? If you're not full yourself, we should be giving from an overflow, from abundance. We should not be giving from a cup that's half empty.
Yeah, definitely. I one of my analogies with, percentages, like how much do we give? I don't want anyone to give 100%. I want them to do 75%. And then I want them to keep 25% for them, only for them, because then that means that 75% is really, really good.
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, so that's how I've always looked at it, because you've got to keep some of it for yourself. And um, yeah, don't be, yeah, yeah. I would think I'm not self-centered, I'm selfish.
yes. And it's okay to be selfish.
Yeah, it is. It is. It really is. So I am kind of curious. I didn't know I was going to ask you this question, but now I am kind of curious. When what age do you think you be fully understood? And maybe you didn't call it, I'm a fucking cool woman, but you found, you had that spark that really said inside you knew you were an FCW.
Wow. And it's so interesting. I kind of knew you were going to ask the question, but I still am just really pondering in my mind, because several answers came to mind.
Uh-huh.
At first, I was going to say at birth,
Yeah,
because my mom named me Sapphire Starr. So she knew I was going to be a fucking cool woman, because
right.
in the womb, she's decided that I was going to be a fucking cool woman before I even made it into this
I
earth.
love
So I
that.
came into the world with fucking coolness pushing me out into the world and naming me Sapphire Star. But then I think about my aunt, who is just my heart. She, and she was the one that called me Star. She never called me Sapphire because there was a TV show on the 60s and 70s, and there was a character, a black woman, her and it's Amos and Andy. And on the show, they would call the young lady a sapphire, but it was meant to be in a derogatory way. It was meant to be a derogatory term. So my aunt would never call me that. She would call me Star. And so my aunt would always say Star, and she would always tell me, I would say I was maybe like 8 or 9, and she would always say, "You have a great personality." And as a kid, I was like, "A what?" Okay, I'm not really sure what that is, but I would say when I became an adult, it clicked in my mind, like, oh, that's what she was talking about. But she planted that seed in my brain that you're a fucking cool person. She didn't use those words, but
Right.
that's exactly what she meant when she said,
Uh-huh.
you have a great personality. So those would be the two pivotal moments. And when I think about shining that light and walking in a room and illuminating a space, just being who you are, no pretense, no prejudgments, that's what I mean. And my name being Sapphire Star, me being called Star, it's about that light from within. But we all have the ability as fucking cool women to be that light, to walk in the room, to illuminate it because no one can do you better than you. So instead of us trying to be other people, we look within ourselves because that fucking coolness is inside of us. You just have to tap into it and give yourself permission to own it.
Yeah, big time. That's so like yes, yes, yes. I love that your aunt said that to you. That's why it's so important to say things like that to young children, you know.
Yeah.
It really is. It was that your mom's sister,
My dad's sister.
your dad's sister. Okay, so you had so yeah, so okay.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
paternal
My
and
dad's
maternal
sister.
side. That's really great. That really balances out. Um, so I love so I know you just shared that you know you had some early FCWs raising you. What who tell me some of your friends or women you've worked with or who else? I'd love to hear about one or two more. It's just fun to hear about them, you know. Like I love talking about them.
And I love that you put a name to it in that way because we know of these people, but to identify them as fucking cool women just really elevates and take it to another level. And I told you about my mom, who is a fucking cool woman. My mom is phenomenal. She is the freest spirit I've ever known in my life. She danced to her own drum, her own music. She is 1000% herself. Every time you see my mom, you're going to get the same person. I don't care what arena that you're in, you're going to get her name is Hurricane Burt. That's her stage name. My mom is a performer. She does lip singing. She's a bartender. She's college educated. She is the brightest and fucking coolest woman that I know. And then I have my aunt is Belle. And then I have another aunt, my Aunt Judy, who, again, this woman, you know what I love about my Aunt Judy? Another woman who danced to her own drum, because she was kind of like the black sheep of the family because my aunt always wanted to travel. She didn't want to stay here in Savannah. She wanted to be free. And that's what she did. When she was a very young age, she ended up moving to Boston with this exchange family program. And she ended up traveling the world. And that was my inspiration to travel. But my aunt just carried herself so regally. She will always wear pearls. Every time I saw my aunt, she was dressed down to the T. And it was something about that, now that she's not here with us anymore, that is something that just really sticks and resonate with me and something that I want to embody as I carry myself through, this world that we're in, this plane, because my aunt, and I'm proud to say this, in the 60s and 70s, she had a nonprofit right here in Savannah called the Sunshine House. Her name is Judy Davis Stewart. And the Sunshine House was a center for girls in the community, and she taught them how to dance. She taught them etiquette. She taught them home. She taught them all these things. And so in the city of Savannah gave her a house for her to do this. And so I can go on and on and on. Like and I talked about Brandis Rawls. She's a fucking cool woman. I could tell you about a woman I met in Mexico because I'm a transformational speaker, but my speaking journey, I was never a confident person when it came to public speaking. I was very terrified of speaking on stages, speaking in person in front of people. I remember I was living in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, and her name is Leticia, and she's a Romanian Canadian. And I remember we would go to yoga class together. And after yoga, we would go downstairs at the spa and then we would just all have tea and talk. And she was like, "You should come to a Toastmasters meeting." And I was like, "No, I'm not. I don't want to get on stage and talk to people." And she was like, "No, you should come." And I took her up on it after a while, after her, because she asked me several times. And I went, and oh my God, that going to Toastmaster is what really sparked my career as a motivational and transformational speaker because I got called, and it was an improv table topic round where they just call you up and they're like, "Oh, you got 2 minutes to talk on this topic." And I'm just like, I just got what? Wait a minute. I don't have any training. What was happening? But oh my God, the feeling that I got being up there, even though I was scared, like you said, I did it scared. But Leticia saw something in me that I didn't necessarily see in myself. She saw a fucking cool woman that a part of a fucking cool woman that I was afraid to tap into. And she is such a regal, and I think about her, she's such a regal person. She wear her pearls, she just wears her nice little skirts and suits. And again, amazing, speaks several languages. She fucking cool woman, Leticia from, yeah, I met her in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. But I have so many. It's hard to just name a few because I'm like, wait, no. All these women, you think about from birth to 47 years of age. I'll be 47 in June. I think about all the amazing women that my family, friends, I've crossed paths that had just really poured into me and basically shaped who I am today. And without them, there's no Sapphire Starr standing here. So to have that support, to have that community, just to have random women, just they don't even know you. I told you I've traveled to 25 different countries and I've met random people I don't even know who has been there for me, given something to me, supported me, and it's really awesome. There's fucking cool people in the world and there's fucking cool women everywhere.
Yes, they are. Yeah, you're new spokesperson for sure. Yeah, it is. And yeah, and it's opening your heart to your own fucking coolness will then open your life to so much. And it's
Yes.
and not to say that there aren't people out there doing things, but
Yeah.
are we can there are solutions and we will, I know or yeah, I know who
Yeah.
the what the outcome is moving into. So and that I think this goes back to this goes in really great because I really like having a brief conversation about respect and courage and celebrate.
Yes.
I mean, so you're traveling, you're working, you respect people, they respect you back, you encourage people, encourage back. So tell me a little bit about how you do incorporate these things with with your clients and just in general.
Yes, absolutely. I'm the owner and founder of Organized Chaos Enterprise, where we empower women to build wealth with confidence, create thriving businesses, and to invest in their financial future. We're on a mission.